So Drew, this is our second podcast appearance together. Just you're on the different side of the table this time. Let's start with that beautiful neon sign behind you. The world is yours. I don't know if it's just a 2 or 3 post college kids in an apartment decor, or if there's anything more meaningful behind it. But let's start with that. The world is yours. What does that mean to you?
Great question. So I actually brought one piece of decor down to Florida, and it was this neon sign. I got it celebrating my first Christmas with my girlfriend. Shout out Julia. It was one of my favorite gifts I've ever gotten. She believes this is the Tony Montana year, which is just like, we got everything's coming for us. There's that clip at the beginning where it's like, what do you want? He's like, I want the world. And it's just been a lot of working through the shadows for us, for her, for myself. And she's an athlete and I'm an entrepreneur, but athlete's also an entrepreneur. So we've really been able to kind of be aligned on different paths, but in the same process. And we just believe that this year, this horse year, is coming for us. Like this, everything that we've been working towards our entire lives, like not just over the past year, but over the past couple of years, like the foundation that we've laid and what we've built is coming for us. And so it's great. Like when it's dark out here, there's, we're in a city in Brickell. So like you get to have the little nighttime skyscraper lights that get to kind of illuminate outside, but then this neon sign gets to illuminate inside, and it's just a great touch.
Hell yeah. Now let's rewind. So I know you're a Cubs fan. I know you're from Illinois. Walk us back. So you have this, just from our conversations in the past, you've got this lust for life that shines brighter than most other people I know. But when did that start? Is that from, instilled from your parents, your family? Like, what was that Drew as a kid experience like that got you to this, like, I'm going to go grab life and run with it?
That's a great question. You answered my GOAT question on my pod with a great answer. And you said that your parents are the GOATs. And I would equally say the exact same. They are the two people that drove me to who I am today, quite literally, but also from the standpoint of how they go about their days. They are very low maintenance people. They are very simple people, and they love each other to an infinite standpoint. That is the number one thing I will be doing for my kids. And I believe that this is the number one thing any parent can do for their kids, is to love each other unconditionally. Because look, when my mom or my dad, they give me advice, whenever you get advice, your first instinct is always to throw up your protector and to say, I know what I'm doing. But when you're able to observe something and come to the conclusion yourself, that's when it sticks. And my parents, they lead by example. From how they love each other. My dad is the hardest worker I have ever met, will ever meet in my entire life. And he shows me that I know he's up earlier than I am. I know he's up later than I am. He is the guy you want to call if you are backs against the wall and you're stuck in a corner. They are unapologetically loyal. They love me unconditionally. And they are just how you're supposed to attack life. And I saw that first and foremost from my first looks in the world to right now, where I think that the term lust for life is nice. Definitely have a love for it, but it's also a lustful relationship. It's just, how can you not?
Now, I'm a bit envious in some ways in that you're a couple years younger. While I had a traditional college experience pre-pandemic, got to experience the typical college thing. There's also a bit, I was talking to a friend of mine about this recently, which is my generation. I'm like right on the cusp of Gen Z and millennial, right? Yeah, exactly. And I feel like our generation was plagued with this, Zuckerberg era of, hey, I'm going to go build a generational company and IPO it, ring the bell, and, social network type stuff. But your generation, you guys were the TikTok kids. You figured out, hey, you can go be Logan Paul. You can go viral on TikTok for dancing and make more money than your parents ever made. And so I'd love to hear more about, what that entrepreneurial experience like for you as a kid. Yeah, we can talk about your, ventures in apparel in college here in a second. But like, were you the kid that had the lemonade stand on the corner? I've been asking this question a lot lately because I think it kind of varies by generation. So walk me through what young Drew was thinking as related to what you wanted to be when you got older. I know baseball is a big part of your journey as well, but paint the picture for how this entrepreneurial bug first got seeded.
Yeah, I was not the kid with the lemonade stand. I was the anti-entrepreneur. I was solely focused on baseball. I liked school. I'd go to school, but like I was never looking for ways to make an extra dollar here when I was younger. And I was just so focused. I had older siblings, right? They were all athletes. The path my dad set us was not to go out there and make money. His path was, his path for us was go out there, go get A's, try your hardest, but then do the exact same in sports. Go push yourself physically, push yourself mentally. He was so simple and he just wanted you to focus and he wanted you to do stuff like that, which allowed me to focus on school. I got good grades. I was a good baseball player and I became a good leader of those teams. So I was not entrepreneurial in that sense. I was a leader, I will say, but it wasn't until college, you mentioned this apparel business where like, I didn't choose to be an entrepreneur. It just kind of happened on a whim. But this shift from like millennial to Gen Z, and especially just this day and age with you can kind of go out there and 4 years ago, you can go out there and make an agency and get a subscription model to bring in an email software system. I didn't even know about that. I was in school. I was reading poli-sci readings at night, and I was taking exams. I was playing club baseball. I was in a fraternity. Like, I wasn't really thinking about any of that stuff, which is a good thing. Like, I think I was just like, I do think that the entrepreneurial world, there is a ton of smoke and mirrors. There's so much comparison that you can make. Everyone's on their own path. I'm in Miami. I'll see kids that are younger than me driving like a rented Lambo because their TikTok shop is hitting it hard this month. And I'm like, what are we doing here? But that's not my game, right? That's not my game. Some people are doing OFM, which is like an OnlyFans manager. I'm like, look, if that's how you want to put food on the table, that's how you're going to do it. But not for me. It's a little bit different. So my entrepreneurial path was a little bit more chosen for me and organic, but everything that's ever led me up to this point has made me the person that I am, which has made me eternally grateful.
Now you go to Michigan. When does the idea or, accident for Ruchim tees first come into your head?
It more so came out of my chest when I wore it to school. I had a great group of friends. I had a pledge class of 19 guys. We were super tight knit. I didn't believe in that stuff. I was on a baseball team my whole life on different teams. I'm like, you don't just artificially make friends just by like joining a fraternity. These aren't your brothers. Like, I have brothers at home. And then like lo and behold, I pretty much make these unbelievable friendships at school. And going into my sophomore year, I see a t-shirt that when I'm packing for school that just is white and it says Ruchim on it. And I'm like, this is dope. Let me bring this to school. Didn't think it was narcissistical at all. There were some girls at school that were like, this is kind of narcissistical to wear your name on a shirt. I was like, in your opinion. But I just wore it. Some of my friends were like, that's cool. I'd wear one of those. And I just told my mom, I'm like, hey mom, like, do we have any more of these? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, can we make more? So I come back from spring break and there are 25 shirts in a box. I hand them out. And then like, sure enough, there's the 26th and the 27th guy that's like, I would also wear that shirt. So this goes on a couple more times until my mom's like, I'm not going to just keep buying you guys shirts, even though they're like $3 to make.
Yeah.
You got to start a business. Like, you got to start selling this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll sell them for freaking face value. $3 for a t-shirt, Next thing we know, we added to our merch drop. The next year when I'm going to school, I make an Instagram. My freshman year roommate, Connor Sazon's like, dude, you should just make an Instagram for it. And what I did was I would just post pictures. People would send me Ruchim tees, post like pictures with them wearing the shirt when they were at the Pyramid of Giza, the Colosseum in Rome. They're on a boat at 4th of July. They could be going to class. They could be working out. They were just sending me pictures and they're like, yo, like wearing the shirt. So I had tens, 100 pictures of these people. So I would post something like once every 2-3 weeks. People would like it. I grew the following and like, it just wasn't, I didn't make really any money from it, but I got a ton of fun from it.
How many shirts are in circulation, you think?
I think that there's probably around 500 shirts, probably around 150 hoodies and like 50 beanies in circulation.
Wicked. Now, why did the first shirt exist? Why did you how did that come to be?
First shirt, I think, is older than me. I think my dad had a client before me. My dad's a lawyer and he's a great guy. So a lot of it's just a lot of barter exchange where it's like, all right, here's the final price, but I know you make t-shirts. So how about we call it this and you make my family 50 shirts. And we had like these retro white Ruchim tees that no one really wore anymore. I just saw it in the closet. It's like, one of those vintage Kevin Garnett jerseys that you
Yeah.
see, and you're like, oh, that'd be tough if I wore that. And I ended up just bringing it to school, and just, I believe in God. Didn't really as much at the time because I didn't really have the awareness to do so, but I believe that everything happens for a reason. And sure enough, right? Like 25 years in the making with that shirt being there, it just, how does that happen?
And then at what point did that Ruchim brand transition to Maze Outlet?
Great question. Going into my senior year is when Alec, who's my co-founder, he started doing drop shipping second semester our junior year, and I was running Ruchim tees. But I want you to know that Alec and he was abroad, I was at school. And so we just like kind of randomly started doing the same things, not crazy things. Like, he started reading books. So did I. I know, riveting stuff. He started taking cold showers, to do a cold shock in the morning. I was enticed by that too. And that kind of extended to where when we caught up in like April, I was like, oh, this is really cool that we're both doing this stuff. And we were already great friends. We were the two golfers that would go out and play earlier in the morning. We had a great relationship. And then in the summer, he's like, I got this idea for these t-shirts called Moment. And pretty much we wanted to put like the best moments in sports on a t-shirt in like an eye shape. So it's like being in the moment. Wasn't riveting stuff. We learned copyright was going to be a pain in the ass. So what did we do? We didn't do that. And we pivoted to just making t-shirts for the Maze Out, for our Maze Outlet football games. And Maze Outlet was the name. We honestly, our best seller were Maze Ruchim tees. And it was drop shipping / Ruchim tee stuff. So like just combining the two things that we knew.
Can you explain drop shipping to the average millennial or parent listening to this?
Yeah, drop shipping is simple, but it's doesn't make sense for how easy it is. All you do is you just hook up like a Printify to a Shopify, which is like you just hook up a manufacturer to a website. And people can just click that they want it, and it automatically sends to this manufacturer to ship it to this person. And let's say it's a $30 shirt. It takes $18 to make, $5 for shipping. You make, I don't know, that's probably, margins are all over the place there, but that's what drop shipping is. Simple.
And then you guys run Maze Outlet through your college tenure, and then you graduate. Were you thinking about internships at all? Were you thinking about finding a real job at any point? Or did you dive right into the world of entrepreneurship out of school?
Well, I always love that term real job. And I think it's like, people were like, when are you going to get a real job? I'm like, what? Is that an insult? Or is that a compliment? So I was supposed to be a lawyer. I went to, my dad's a lawyer, my brother's a lawyer. That was the path. My dad is the average Jewish male where it's like, found a system, it works, it brings in money, puts food on the table. I'm going to get really good at this and I'm going to do this. It's safe, it's secure. I'm kind of the opposite, right? I went to go help out my brother at his law firm and I was like, this is the most soulless work I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't do this. I can't be passionate and great at something like this. The only time I can ever be great at something is if I'm good at it. And if I love it, and if I don't love it and wake up in the morning and say, I want to go out and do this, I'm going to get beaten down by week 2, let alone year 2. So we had this, it was kind of working with entrepreneurship. I loved it. I could do this without making money, which is honestly like bring in minimal money, but have so much gratification and satisfaction from being able to provide a service where it's like, I know that's just a byproduct, and I'm really happy that we've made that decision, but I jumped straight into it. Second I graduated, I was already working full-time for Aditt. We had 3 different ventures, went full speed with Aditt, burned the boats on everything, and just our parents bought in. They loved how we were becoming men in this way, and they were like, I believe in you guys. Let's do it.
Now, what were the 3 ventures that you had before you burned the boats to go all in on Aditt?
Maze Outlet, you go to college, Michigan, and then Aditt, which was called Ads at the time, $ADD. But you go to college, Michigan was just an Instagram account that we bought at 18K, and we were able to market Maze Outlet through there. And we grew it from 18K to 60K, and we learned that brands had all the money. They were coming on there because they were, you go to college, Virginia Tech, you go to college, Texas, you go to college, wherever, posting 2 pictures a day and then 2 reels a day. And all it was just regurgitating content that other people made. And then the follower count would grow. And then because there were followers on all these accounts, there was like 1 million total, that these brands that wanted to hit college kids, like a shotgun tool or a new beverage, like they were just coming to the guy who ran all these accounts and were like, yo, we'll pay you $1,000. We'll pay you 2.5 grand. We'll pay you 5. We'll pay you 15 grand. That was one of the deals to get posted across like 6 of your feeds. Alec and I were like, what a waste. Unbelievable waste, which is how we were like, why are we trying to sell to college kids where we should be trying to sell to brands? And sure enough, pivot, Aditt.
Tell us about early days of ads. What was that like? What was the kind of like, was that the first use case you guys thought of, or what was the, all right, we're starting this business moment for ads?
Well, everyone talks about the pivot, right? You know, the pivot foot, the jab set, 3-point stance. No, but in real talk, the pivot that we had to do in order to get here was transitioning from being an advertising platform to a market research platform. We noticed that the advertisement game was broken. I think it still is. People look at the funnel and they look at the top and they get charged by impressions. And we're like, people are looking for impressions. That's empty. It's meaningless. It's like gluttony, where it's like the more you eat of that, the more hungry you're going to become for just more of that metric, when that's not the indicator. So we want to chop the funnel in half and guarantee attention. Make sure that people, when they watch the video, they watch the full, they answer the question. And so that was the beginning days where we were like, how can we create a system where we guarantee exactly what the brands want? They want someone to watch their full video. They want somebody to prove that they watched their full video. They want insight on what people think about the video, their brand, whatever they want. That's we're creating Aditt to just give businesses, direct to consumer business, whatever they want from the consumers. And look, maybe in the next couple of months, we'll have enough users to where we can actually start advertising on there. But it's a market research platform because we're giving them the insight. And that was a really cool pivot, but did not happen overnight, happened over the course of 2.2 years, call it.
Now, you studied poli-sci. Did Alex study computer science or engineering or anything to code this from the get-go, or how did you guys put this together?
No. So we had a buddy at school who was going to jump in with this, and he was working at Amazon, computer science guy. Alec was the econ guy. So Alec and I in the fraternity, I was the social chair, and he was the secretary, treasurer, and that's kind of how we handled the business. What ended up happening with our third guy, Max, was he just was committed to Amazon, and that's how it rolled out, right? Like he had that full-time job. He had probably the best job that any software engineer could have out of college. And he just rolled it with it from there. So we kind of had to figure it out, but the idea was able to be generated because the three of us were collaborating on it together. And it was a great process because I've been able to see how Alec has turned from non-technical to the most technical guy that I know. He is damn near in the code with our development team, when him and I were at the same level, and he's just completely surpassed me in that regard. And I've just kind of went full force into distribution, marketing, sales, and it's been really special. But that was the kind of the origin of that. And but he's not a CS guy from college whatsoever.
Now, that was 2.2 years ago. At what point did you switch to the name Let's Get At It? Like, what was the kind of transition of the business like?
So Let's Get At It was the name of the podcast, which I think is a fire name for the podcast, because it's just, how do you get at it? How do you attack the day? But the name Aditt, Alec came up with. We were trying to flesh out this idea for months, right? Like, you want to find the name, you want to run with it, and we couldn't. For some reason, like we would find like Apricot and all like these certain names. Like we wanted to be like that niche tech startup. But then one day he was like, I think I got the name. And I told him that like 15 times and it never worked. But whenever Alex says it, like, he's not just bullshitting you. And so he's like, ADIT, Aditt, is the entrance to a gold mine. Like that's the term for that. And he's like, Aditt sounds like add it, like adding something to your wallet, adding something like that. And Aditt was an advertising platform, Aditt on Aditt. So there was the double meaning, the triple meaning, And his name's Alec. My name's Drew, AD to begin it. And, we wanted to go ADDIT, but I think that was taken. So we went ADITT. People spell it ADDIT probably 80% of the time, but I'm numb to it at this point.
Now, what does tell us more about the business today. What do you guys do? And then tell me about the vision. Where do you want to take this thing?
So right now we are a full market research platform for direct-to-consumer companies. That's the advertiser brand side. And then the user side we pay people to watch videos. It's a TikTok style feed where we're able to pay people when they prove that they watched something, and then they provide 2 survey answers. So it's 1 question that's multiple choice, and then 2 where there's any answer that you can possibly give. And it's an engaging experience, we believe, for them. It's 30 seconds max for every video, and the brands are able to get aggregated info and insight from these survey questions that right now we're generating for them upon the videos, the branding, etc. And we're sending out these performance summaries. We're meeting with them. We're like, hey, I know you guys are kind of treading water right now, but this is kind of what the people think in terms of how they would use your platform. Take this for what you will, right? We weren't been able to try and get your perfect customer to watch your video and to perform this because that's really hard, the targeting and to be really refined there. But we were able to get people and be able to track that from, 0 to 18, from 19 to 24, and then male versus female. And then kind of compare the answers from there. AI has been unbelievable to really aggregate all that info. But right now we have a ton of demand on the user side, 10,000 downloads. Brand side, we got about 15 to 20 that we're doing a fully free managed service for. And we're just trying to make sure that we get case studies. They know what we're doing. They love the process. And once these people start to convert on it and we figure out who that person is, rinse and repeat, right? It's like doing mouthwash at night.
Marketplaces are super tough. Every investor and founder can tell you that. Obviously I know that just as well as you do. But one of the interesting things is in this AI boom, everyone's saying that while marketplaces are challenging to build, they're going to be the most resilient out of this post AI market, and that replacing Airbnb or replacing Uber will be extremely challenging because you already have 2 different moats that you have to build or get through. So I'd be curious from your perspective, what's been the most challenging part for you on the marketplace side? Has it been on the user side to get people to test out these products and provide their feedback, or has it been more on the company side?
Company side for sure. We kind of knew going in that the user side was going to be easy. We're paying people, right? So the second that you prove that it's not a scam and people are going to be making money on there, they're going to come, and we have a good referral strategy where if they want to keep their earning rate at this cent per second, after 24 hours, it goes away and they get to refer 2 friends onto the platform in order to keep that. But for the brands, it's something that's innovative where they don't need to do something like this, right? Everything that's presented to them is a vitamin, but we want to make it a painkiller to where when you use this, you need this, right? But the whole thing for us is we need to show you that you need this. Not because we're trying to pull the rug under you, but because we built this so that you guys could legitimately get insight and feedback and make better decisions for your business. So that's been by far the hardest part. The feedback piece, I would say it hasn't been difficult, but it's just a tough pill you have to swallow with how long this process is going to be, right? We launched September 3rd. It was 5 months, 2 days ago from when we launched the platform.
Yeah.
The first 2 months, 3 months were all about how can we just get users to tell us what they think. And then after that, it was just making adjustments to that. And we're in the phase right now of getting that from the advertisers. But the marketplace is a fascinating place to build into because you're just creating your own little economy.
It's absolutely wicked, and the challenges and the pros and cons are kind of perfectly sitting on a pendulum, and every time you get knocked, exactly 6-7
weekend coming up.
That's the beauty of having a Gen Zer on the podcast. I've never had anyone say 6-7 before, so
you're welcome.
All right, now tell me this: say, and it's not even hypothetical in my head. 5 years from now, all is going well. You and Alec are members at Doral. You're living at the Four Seasons residence down the street in Brickell. What does this business look like when everything succeeds in a couple of years?
It's a great question. And I always want to be able to visualize that, right? Manifest it, visualize the success, and then work backwards from there. because then you can reverse engineer your way to that destination. But I don't even know really what I'm eating for breakfast tomorrow. My friend asked me like, "Hey, what are you doing for the 4th?" I'm like, "Of March?" Because of July, I don't even know where I'm going to be. Like even for March 4th, I don't even know like what's going to be going on there. So when tasked with the question, like 5 years from now, like what's going to be going on in 1,500 days, like, man, I don't know. I would really love to just be able to provide value to the end user on both sides. That's it, right? And it's not doing anything crazy. It's just being able to scale that. Like we've been able to do that. We've done it to more than one brand. We've done it to far more than one user. The thing is just doing that more. I want to be able to pay these users more money. I want to be able to make these brands pay less and get more value. Now that doesn't really make much sense, but I don't know. I think we'll get our way there. I just really love the process. And honestly, like the best part about this whole thing, it's not about the money that gets driven in or anything else aside from like you and I have a connection now just because we're not even in a like the same space. We're just both on the same tracks and moving in a forward direction and we respect that from one another, right? Like I have zero problem with having you on my podcast and I'm sure you do the same. Like this is amazing for me. I love being able to sit on the microphone and talk. And for the end user, like I just want them to be happy. We got contact submissions every day. Got one legitimately during this meeting and it's like, "Hey, when will there be more videos?" And it's like, "You want to use my app? That's cool. You took the due diligence, you took the umbrage upon yourself to say, let me just send them something because I want more. Sure. Like I'll do my best."
What's keeping you up at night right now with the app? I know there's so many good things that can happen with it. What's keeping you up at night? What's stressing you out about the tool?
Great question. Alex way more in the weeds with the tech, but there's always a thought with security that you want everything to go well. But for me, like what I'm conscious about, I would say less about stress because I don't know. I feel like all of it's good stress in that way. Maybe I've just completely tricked my mind into like everything is good, even the bad things are great. Where like I want to make good videos. I haven't gone viral. I don't really know if I will, but I make a ton of videos on my personal, on download.aditt, which is for our app, for Let's Get At It podcast. Like I'm not sitting there being like, "Oh, I want to get like 100,000 views." Like that's nothing for people to get like 6 million views on like an Instagram clip. I just want to provide stuff that people like. And I think when you're building a brand, what I learned from Ruchim Tees, it's like virality does not create brand retention. It just creates attention where brand retention is like they like your brand. They watch the videos, they come back for more, they're watching your YouTube videos. It's like Bob Does Sports or Grant Horvat on golf. Like it's not just I'm watching their clips on Instagram. Like when I'm sitting down, I'm like, I would love to spend my free time looking at or watching this content from these guys. And that's kind of what I've been trying to build. But I don't know. What keeps you up at night?
Yeah. I'm a pretty good sleeper. I can usually hit the pillow and fall right to bed. It's more a matter of like reminding myself, hey, it's time to sleep.
What's your routine at night for going to bed? Like phones and like the lights, all that stuff.
Yeah, phone's always in the other room when I sleep, and that's more from like the Bluetooth EMF wave conspiracy, whether it's true or not. Might as well hedge against that risk. My glasses are blue light glasses when I take my contacts out. My glasses help protect from the blue light. I wish I could say, I sit down and read, for 20 minutes every night to fall asleep, but, I'll maybe do that once or twice a month. Usually it's, closing any loose ends and then pulling up a YouTube video or a show with my fiance before bed. But, really the core thing now is just trying to understand, like we talked about on your podcast, like what's the world going to look like in 5-10 years? Is it going to be the 5 foundational model companies that, just destroy every single app that goes out there? Are the public markets going to be open for Aditt and for Hilo to go public one day? Or are we just going to go scale to 50 million, 100 million, $500 million in revenue? And then we get an offer from OpenAI or Anthropic that we can't refuse. It's a great, it's a great worst problem to have or thing to keep you up at night. But that's what I always really find myself thinking about before I fall asleep.
I really do think that, those big guys are only going to get bigger, right? Like they just have so much money and power where they just purchase market share. And I don't really know, like, as much as I'm doing at it because I love the process, like, I just want to, my why is to be able to provide. Like, we went out to dinner last night and we went out to get frozen yogurt at this place, Mika, which is like, it's an awesome place.
Yeah.
And for me, like, whenever I go to a golf shop, I don't want to buy stuff for me. Like, I don't want to go buy a hat for me. I want to go buy it for somebody, for like my mom or for my girlfriend who is going to be my woman that I spend the rest of my life with. Like, I don't want, like, I don't get the joy and the satisfaction out of like giving it back to myself, right? Like, I feel like that's less, that there's a cap to that, where the giving that you can do is limitless in the sense of just being able to provide back from that. And so, I mean, I just want to, my parents have given me everything, right? Like, everyone that's ever, like, you're giving me everything right now. Like, I just want to be able to return the favor. And sometimes it's like, you got to let people give it to you so you can give it back to them, which was a struggle that I just want to be able to do it for them and to help. But man, I don't know. I just feel like there's just so much out there, and there's literally infinity if you're just in a giving mindset and you give more than you take.
Do you listen to or read a lot of the random business gurus? You mentioned attention is currency earlier, which obviously makes you think of Gary Vee, but who are your business gurus that you're reading, consuming content from these days?
Good question. I actually just read Green Lights on the plane. McConaughey book, great. Everyone's like, "Oh, you got to listen to the audio."
I just read it. I really liked it, man.
The book is great. Great pictures. It's great. And you read it in his voice, the green light, and it's a great book. But I also wanted to prove it to myself because I really haven't read in a couple of months, and I wanted to just like burn through a book on the plane, and I did it. I'm like, all right, I'm proud of myself. Like, it's really good to be able to challenge yourself and to get through it, right? Self challenges, self accomplishments. No one else is knowing it besides you, but you still got it. But I like, I read a Tony Robbins book on Money Master the Game. He's just an awesome dude. Love his energy, period, end of story. I've read The Bitcoin Standard, which was a cool book on finance and Bitcoin, which, people are always like so quick to shit on Bitcoin, but like, I just think it's interesting. Like, I didn't learn a lot about money, and that was like one of the first things I learned, like Money Master the Game and that part right there. But yeah, I don't know. I watched some content online just for just how to make content from people that make good content. Can I name their Instagrams? Not really, but I don't know. Gary Vee is good. Like, who do you like? I don't know.
Hey, this is an interview of Drew, not an interview of me, but same boat. There's so many good creators out there. I'm absolutely hooked and telling everybody about John Coogan and Jordy Hayes on TBPN these days. Really just changing the game as it relates to news and business journalism. They do a live stream every day across channels explaining, the best of what's going on in business, from fundraisers to product announcements. And they're like fully funded by ad reads. They both had very successful ventures before they started this, and this is like their second, third projects they're working on. But I find them great. But let me ask you this: there's like I mentioned earlier about envious that kind of where you sit in your life now as it relates to when you were born and coming into the working world when you did. I think that you're a very, very good example of where the world is going, which is, I think, more and more kids. I've talked about this on the last few podcasts because it's something that maybe isn't keeping me up at night, but I think about a lot, which is the future of higher ed, what college looks like for our kids when, in 10 years time, 30 years time, when, you have the decision, do you want to go and make $60,000 a year as an auditor at Deloitte at a school, or do you want to go, do you have a YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers, everyone paying you $1 a month, and you're making, $600K a year from your sourdough YouTube channel or whatever it is. I think more and more kids are going to go into the world of entrepreneurship. I think my generation and the folks that were born like pre-2000 are now getting into the workforce, realizing the monotony and figuring out and seeing people like yourself that are going and, living their life, maybe not making $400K a year in banking or consulting or whatever, but they're going and forging their own path as a entrepreneur founder and betting on themselves. So my question for you is like, what advice would you have for, say, a kid that's a freshman at Michigan or Virginia Tech today, who's, trying to decide, hey, I've got an internship coming up this summer. I'm not that excited about it. I'm thinking about a bunch of different ideas. I'm playing around with Claude all day long. What advice would you have for a kid a couple years younger than you who's trying to figure out, do they want to go forge the path of entrepreneurship or follow the safer route of going and grabbing a steady real job, as I said earlier?
Yeah, well, so my sister's actually coming to visit me. She's down with my mom. We're going to meet her. She's going to stay here for a couple of days. And she's a senior at Michigan, has that job at Deloitte. Brilliant, smarter than me. She's going to be somebody that is absolutely going to be doing something that is creative and it's her own venture, or she's a part of a startup. But the beginning is like that steady Eddie job. And when you think, like, when I think about how higher education is going to be in these next tens of years and how our kids are going to go through it, I just think the important thing that will always remain constant is human to human interaction. Like, I truly believe that sports are the best teachers at this, because I don't care if you come from a family of wealth or a family from nothing. When you get in between the lines of whatever sport you're playing, there's no one else that's going to stop you besides yourself and the team that's trying to stop you, which is a really cool teacher. I love going to school, not at the time as much. Like, everyone's like, oh, I want to go home and play video games. But like, going to school, you get to be in a classroom. You get to sit at a table and a desk with 3 other people, and some of them are boys, some of them are girls that are all different walks of life. I grew up in a very diverse area. I was very accustomed to being at a desk with, an Indian girl, a black guy, a Jewish girl, and, call it like a Chinese girl. Like, that was just, everyone came from all different shapes and sizes and countries. And it's like, that's the world where it's coming from. And to be able to learn that, I think, was really cool. I think AI is going to be something that you're going to obviously want to leverage and learn from. But my best advice I'd give to people are make friends and make connections. Cause like, there's no such thing as like a salesman that is like a dick that just doesn't know how to make friends, right? Like, you got to learn how to sell yourself. And I'm not saying sell your body. I'm saying like sell who you are. Go make friends. Like, present yourself well. People talk about a personal brand, but like, that's just a cliche way of looking at it, where it's like, go be your best self. Like, who do you want to be, regardless on whatever the follower count says or likes you get? Like, when someone meets you and you're out somewhere, like, go interact with the barista. Go have that phone call with that guy. Go reach out to that person, because I've never once had a bad experience taking that extra step and either failing or succeeding and saying I shouldn't have done that. Like, I guess that's my take. Long-winded, but still, you get it.
I like it. I got you. Drew, as we round out here, where should anyone that wants to come and view some ads, provide some survey feedback, what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you and folks that are interested in either getting their ads reviewed on Aditt or watching some ads for some money? Where's the best place to drive people to?
App Store, search ADITT. That's Aditt earn money. That's going to be your best guess. My email is drewruchim@aditt.app. I am always around to respond. I want to hear what people think. I love being able to just, I don't know, put myself out into the world and just see what the universe is going to give to me. So any listener that's hearing this, you got my line. There's no excuse.
I'm going to bleep out your phone number so that when Aditt has 100 million downloads and you're going to ring the bell of the stock exchange or you get bought by Anthropic, you don't have a bunch of people doxing you, hitting you up. But man, it was a pleasure. I'm excited to keep the dialogue going and hopefully see you in Miami here soon.
Yeah, Arjun, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, brother.